Hi, my name is Faith, and I'm here to discuss the dangers of vaping. We've all seen those commercials where usually an older adult is giving their testimonial on how vaping has helped them quit smoking. Who is paying for these advertisements, and how's it affecting our health, and how's it affecting our youth? More importantly, well, it's having a huge effect. 13% of high schoolers now vape, and 38% of 13% of middle schoolers and 38% of high schoolers are now vaping. And that's more than quadrupled in the past year. So let's talk about why people think it's a better alternative. Well, consumers stopping smoking using vaping because they feel like it's a better alternative. The consumers are told that first of all, it is a better alternative. There are 7,000 chemicals in a single cigarette, not nearly as much in a vape. Nicotine is in most vape products, which can help switch from smoking to vaping without withdrawals. And it just smells better. And it doesn't have that sticky residue, that tar residue, like the yellow on the fingers. I quit smoking 13 years ago. So, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Or do the disadvantages outweigh the advantages? And what's the next step? Well, it's education. Consumers do not understand that vaping has not been tested like cigarettes have been. And the health impacts are really starting to make the news now. So I think they're starting to get an idea. Majority of the newsworthy effects of vaping have been something that's referred to as sponge lung. Nearly 200 e-cigarette users have developed severe lung diseases in 22 states. And that number, according to Washington Post, is actually up to more than 350. And most of those cases are amongst young people, which tells us how is the industry affecting these young people? Well, as I said, it's on the rise. 28% of high schoolers, 13% of middle schoolers. Let's put a number on that. That's 21 million youth that have started using a vape pen. And that's just in the past year, those numbers have gone up. So the regulations that have been put in place where you can't buy them till they're 18 or 19 haven't persuaded the youth to stop. And other risks of vaping include nicotine is very addictive and can affect the brain, especially a growing brain, hence little people, potentially changing brain chemistry. Here's the kicker. The substances in vaping have been linked to cancer because even though there's not as many heavy metals as there are in cigarettes, there's still heavy metals. Those aren't good for your body. And additionally, exposure to the liquid, which is way more potent than a cigarette, can cause acute nicotine poisoning in children, especially young children that just find it and drink it around the house, and adults. So what is this causing? What's the effect, right? What can we do about it? Well, thank God lawmakers have noticed and those commercials as well, and now they're taking action. Juul, one of the largest e-cigarette and vaping companies, is the one that's promoting the advertising that's saying switch to. And this and current medical research has led lawmakers to accuse Juul of legal advertising. And so the Chamber Houseman and the House of Representatives has opened up an investigation because of the FDA's testimony on the medical worries that vaping can cause. So let's look it over again. We have people thinking it's okay to vape, or at least it's a better alternative, which it kind of is, right? And then we have what vaping is doing to our lungs and how it's affecting our health. And then the other risks of vaping and what can we do to push in regulations to compose that, to to make a difference in where this epidemic isn't taking off. What can you do? Well, you can call your local representative and you can educate your young people, and you cannot do it yourself. And just know it's really bad. Thank you for letting me speak, and I hope to do this again.